The story of George Floyd is really just the story of his autopsy report. You can see it right here. It's still available. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office autopsy report of George Floyd. You can look it up yourself. Look at the amount of drugs George Floyd was on. You can see fentanyl on there, meth on there, hydroxy, goodness gracious, norfentanyl. This guy was amped up, and that's probably why, that is absolutely why, he had heart failure when he decided to fight the cops, resist arrest, got handcuffed after throwing himself into and out of the cop car and onto the ground. And he was only engaging with the cops because the cops were called because he was committing crimes inside of a local convenience store. He's a career criminal, after all. He held a gun to a pregnant woman's belly during a robbery. George Floyd was not a good person. George Floyd was a drug addict who fought with the cops and unfortunately succumbed to the enormous amount of drugs that were pulsing through his veins at the time. And while every death is a tragedy, not every death is a race crime. And certainly George Floyd's death was not a race crime. And it's nice to see some of the story righted on that. Like, for instance, the FBI agents who knelt down for career criminal George Floyd. Isn't the FBI supposed to catch criminals? Well, let me tell you what, Chonk over here ain't catching anything. But the point is that, like, no, you're not supposed to catch criminals. Also, this dude can't even kneel. He's just lay on the bench. I love this photo because it just shows you exactly what had happened to our feared federal institutions, the real FBI. Anyway, they've all been fired. So that's nice. It's nice to see the record corrected there. The record corrected on what George Floyd was, who he was, and what about the officers? This man, Asian police officer, got 5 years just for standing around while George Floyd overdosed. I saw this tweet and I thought, like, this is insane. Is that true? Yes. Yes, it is. Officer stood by as George Floyd died. Highlights complex Asian-Black relations. Oh, really? Tou Thao is his name. Okay, he's Chinese, standing with his back turned as a white officer knelt on George Floyd's neck. This was enough to get him 5 years in prison. Look at this. Former Minneapolis police officer Tou Thao sentenced to prison for depriving George Floyd of his constitutional rights. For doing what? You can see right here. He's been released from prison, but why was he sentenced? He was sentenced because he didn't Thao stopped bystanders from intervening while fellow officer Derek Chauvin knelt on George Floyd's neck. Now, by the way, this was an approved hold by the Minneapolis Police Department. This has been proven time and time again. And it wasn't on his neck. It was on his shoulder blade. And you can see here exactly why George Floyd actually died. And so, like, this is just insane. So for doing his job and not allowing the mob to attack his fellow officer, he got put in prison. I mean, what happened to Derek Chauvin also, like, wrong. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about, like, they're charging the people just that were in proximity to this happening. For what? It's awful. Well, he's out of prison now, thank God. And he's breaking his silence. The cop who was jailed just because he was around George Floyd believes that he was set up to be murdered to silence him. This is amazing. Tou Thao says that if he lied, he would have been spared prison. He would have been made police chief.
To have me, just me going to prison, I want to last 24 hours in general population until they try to have me killed. So it just I'm not surprised it happened to Derek. Obviously, there's people in higher places in government that would want us dead. It's because if we die, then the truth dies. So it's pretty obvious that that could be a possibility for Derek as well. So I wasn't surprised when it happened to him. There's people in government that would like nothing better than Derek to die because everything goes away.
Oh, wow. I mean, first off, he has more to say, but this is incredible. He said they tried to kill me because I know the truth. And Derek Chauvin knows the truth. And so they're trying to kill him because they can't have him get out and then start talking to the press and start telling his side of the story. He knows too much.
The cover up just disappears, and there's no one left to expose it. So, I mean, I'm not naive enough to know that if I'm here talking and speaking, that they wouldn't want me to disappear as well. But, as, going back to my faith, we're not worried about that. We know where we're going. So, but then we also have a task that we have to accomplish. And that, for me, is to expose the works of darkness, Ephesians chapter 5, and also speak truth. And oftentimes it's not going to be popular. I could have taken the easy way out and sided with the woke mob.
When you say easy way out, do you specifically mean accepting the plea bargains, getting the lightest sentence, just sort of like, let me just get through this process with the least damage possible so I can return back to my family? Is that what you mean by the easy way out? Or
the easy way out would just lie.
Okay.
Just basically lie and take the woke narrative and run with it. And you know what? It might not be I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here.
Yeah.
But if I would have went that way, who knows? I could have been the chief of Minneapolis. I mean, it's not far-fetched, just seeing how it has become.
This is incredible. Keep talking, bro. This is amazing. So they say that so he says that there is a massive cover-up, and we all know this, and that they were effectively sacrificed, and that they tried to sacrifice them more in prison. He thinks he was set up to be killed in a prison attack. Speaks out about how his Christian faith inspired him for truth. That the woke mob was here in order to give him a pass if he just said the right thing. So if this Asian man had been like, no, Derek Chauvin, he told me in the cop car, he just lied. He told me in the cop car that he was going to kill a black man today. Like, that's all he needed to say, and he would have been a national hero. And I disavow racism. I love black people. That's all he had to say, right? You're all right. You were all right. All the woke mob, all the BLM people, you burned all down the police stations and stuff. You were right. We're totally racist. That's all they needed him to say, and he didn't say it. The strength of these men, they're actual heroes. All he did was stand nearby as a career criminal, overdose on fentanyl. The state locked him away and tried to have him murdered for it. This is the reality of race communist America. What we did to these men is not just a profound injustice. It marks a national shame. They were and are political prisoners. None of them should have spent a single day behind bars. Total patriot. An entirely outrageously innocent man railroaded into prison by black monsters. Political prisoner should give him a medal. This is an American. So it turns out that Tou Thao is a godly and faithful evangelical man who was persecuted by the judge for being so public about Christ and dedicated to truth. Where are evangelical leaders standing up for this man? That's exactly right. I want to book this man on my show. Patriot. These guys, all they did was stand around. One of the officers is black, right? 4 years, 9 months, 3 years. Officer Thomas Lang, 3 years. Their crimes? Complicit. Complicit. Incredible. Ladies and gentlemen. How is that even a crime? How are you even able to prosecute that? Charlie Kirk, of course. New court documents with the Minneapolis prosecutor strongly oppose charging the 3 other cops who were with Derek Chauvin. Several of those prosecutors withdrew from the case over professional and ethical objections. When told there was no valid case against the officers, Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman screamed that his prosecutors were effing this up. Freeman blamed them for ruining his chance at political stardom, and that's what this all became. It's witchcraft. It's totally evil. It's totally evil. He says, George Floyd, if he had just been honest with us saying, I'm on drugs, I'm high on drugs, I took drugs, okay, we'll get an ambulance for you. We're not going to deny that you need an ambulance. We'll get it for you. Criminals get put in ambulances all the time. Let's start out with honesty. That's just all you need. You'd be alive today. Wow. We got to book this guy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. The truth shall set you free. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. See ya.